enjoy the ride with Crystal Petrie, consulting, so inspired.
My name is Crystal Petrie, and you are watching the Crystal Petrie Consulting Network. I would like to extend to you a happy Women's History Month from me to you. If you know, or maybe you don't, the month of March is designated as Women's History Month in the United States of America so that everyone can celebrate the contributions of women in this country. Before I get started, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel right now, as I will be uploading a lot of content about the contributions of women in this country. And if you would like to schedule a workshop or a presentation on diversity, equity, and inclusion, you can reach me on my website at CAPETRYLLC.com. Now, let's get to it. Mahalia Jackson. Most people, if you are familiar with her, know her as an internationally known, famous gospel singer. But did you know that it was because of Mahalia Jackson that we have the famous "I Have a Dream" speech by Dr. Martin Luther King? It was because of Mahalia Jackson, you heard me, that we have that speech that is played every single day. Somewhere in the world, that speech is played, that speech is heard, or that speech is read. Well, if you didn't know, or maybe you did, but after you watch this video, you will be well educated on exactly what happened. If the legendary gospel vocalist that is Mahalia Jackson had been somewhere other than the National Mall in Washington, D.C. on August 28, 1963, her place in history would still be surely based on her musical legacy. And we would not have the "I Have a Dream" speech. But it is almost impossible to imagine Mahalia Jackson having been anywhere other than center stage at the historic March on Washington in August 28, 1963, where she not only performed the lead-in to Dr. Martin Luther King in his "I Have a Dream" speech, but she also played a direct role in turning that speech into one of the most memorable and meaningful in American history. Recalling a theme that she had heard Dr. Martin Luther King use earlier in earlier speeches, Jackson said out loud over Dr. King's shoulder from behind the podium of the Lincoln Memorial, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream." And if you go back and look at that video, you can actually see Mahalia Jackson saying, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them." And then you will see Dr. Martin Luther King move his papers out the way. His demeanor changes. His voice changes. Everything changes in that moment. And you can see it in all of the videos. Dr. King leaves his prepared notes behind to improvise the entire next section of his speech, the historic section that famously begins, "And even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream." That was the first two sentences of the infamous "I Have a Dream" speech. Later on, King addressed the impact of the moment. He said, When I got up to speak, I was already happy. He wrote to Jackson on January the 10th, 1962. I couldn't help preaching, Dr. King said. Millions of people all over this country and world have said it was my greatest hour. And I would agree. Dr. King goes on to write, I do not know, but if it was you, Mahalia Jackson, more than any single person helped to make it so. That is what Dr. King wrote to Mahalia Jackson, giving her sole credit and sole responsibility for the infamous I Have a Dream speech. It was because of her that moment in time is cemented in American history, history books, YouTube, and everywhere else. And the fact that Dr. King did not take credit for that moment, that he gave credit where credit was due to Mahalia Jackson, speaks volumes of him as a man and as a person. With the acknowledgement from Dr. King, it is also my responsibility and yours to always acknowledge Mahalia Jackson. Every time you hear the infamous I Have a Dream speech, every time you say the I Have a Dream speech, even when you read it, that you think not only of Dr. Martin Luther King, but of Mahalia Jackson also. On MLK Day in January, think of Mahalia Jackson, because without her, there is no dream for any of us, male or female, African American, Caucasian, Hispanic, Asian, biracial. There is no dream without Mahalia Jackson. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I will be putting up wonderful videos highlighting and celebrating just a few women for the entire month of March. And I would love to hear your favorite part of that I Have a Dream speech, or maybe you have a favorite gospel song that Mahalia Jackson has sung. Drop it in the comments and join the conversation. And don't forget, give this video a thumbs up.
Crystal Petrie.